Season is done. Keep, loan or sell video coming your way. I want 200 likes in this video. It's the start of the entertaining video period, so get those 200 likes and let's get started. Starting with Rui Patricio, I'm gonna keep him but shift him to second place because I think we need a more quality goalkeeper to try and compete the best way possible in Europa League and to potentially try and to compete for that league. We need a better goalkeeper throughout this season. He's been uncertain many times, so keep him but shift him to second. Mil Zvilar, keep him. He's young, he's played a few games, he's shown that he's good. He conceded a goal in every game he played apart from the Bologna game, which ended 0-0. Obviously he needs to grow when it comes to experience and when it comes to confidence, but the few saves he's had, they've been pretty good. He's young and I think he can have a good future. So a futuristic goalkeeper, keep him, and he can grab the experience from not just Rui Patricio but the potential first goalkeeper that we can buy. And moving to our third goalkeeper, Pietro Boer, I'm gonna sell him just because if we buy a new goalkeeper, there isn't space for Boer. He barely ever played since Mourinho came. In fact, he barely ever played in a Roma jersey. I don't think we need him. If we get a first goalkeeper, shift Rui Patricio to second, Zvilar third, there is no space for a fourth goalkeeper. He's young, try to monetize now. Maybe some Serie B teams want him, some relegation teams want him, so try to monetize, sell him because we don't need him. Moving on to our defenders, starting with Diego Llorente. Personally, I would keep him. The ownership is tempted to trigger that buyback clause, but it's a bit too expensive. 18 million Leeds United are asking. My only hope is if Leeds United, now that they're playing in the Championship, they got relegated, maybe they can lower that budget and ask fewer amounts of money. If it's 18, I think it's too much. If we can lower it a bit, I want to keep him. He's been solid every game he played this season, and towards the end of the season, in that period where Smalling got injured, he ended up being very useful. So Llorente is a keep for me. Kumbula, I'm going to sell. For two main reasons. One reason is that he's never been confident of himself and he's always led to mistakes, red cards, which cost us points this season. And the second reason why I would sell him is because he's broken his ACL and he will never be the same. Again, this is kind of controversial because now that he's had this injury, nobody will pay the amount of money that we're planning to ask for. But I just feel like we need to empty some spaces. And Kumbula can be one of those players which can be sacrificed. Yes, you're not getting millions of money for Kumbula, but the more space and the more players we sell due to our FFP sanctions, the more players we can grab in. Moving to Mancini, keep. If only we could have 11 Mancinis on that pitch. Aggression, leadership, love. He's that player which every team needs. He's that warrior which every team needs. There could be, especially now that Pellegrini didn't have a very successful season, it's very unlikely, but there were talks that Mancini could have had the armband for the captain. Pellegrini is the captain, Pellegrini will remain the captain. But when it comes to leadership and just the attitude he shows, Mancini is definitely the virtual captain. He would die for this team, he would die for the manager, he would die for these fans. That is very simple. Keep Mancini. Moving on to Celik, I'm going similar to Rui Patricio. I'm keeping Celik but shifting into second place. Another target of this summer window is going to be a wing back. Celik and Karsdorp both proved to be pretty useless, but Celik improved a lot towards the end of the season, and I think he's a perfect backup fullback. So yeah, keep Celik but shift him to second position. Moving on to Ibanez, this is where it's gonna break millions of hearts. Sell Ibanez, because now that Tammy got his ACL injury, we can't sell Tammy. And Tammy was the person which we wanted to sell to fuel our transfer window. Nobody wants Tammy now. Tammy's staying. We need to sacrifice players because we need money now that we missed out on Champions League to kind of water down those FFP sanctions. Ibanez has to go. Now again, we will regret this because Ibanez has got incredible prospects, incredible future talent. He has been very solid apart from the few games which he messed up, which have been a lot and have cost us quite a few points. But Ibanez has an incredible physique incredible status. If he was a bit more concentrated and better with his feet, I think Ibanez would have been a top-notch defender. We have to sacrifice players, we need money, and if Atletico Madrid or Tottenham Hotspur are willing to offer 30 to 35 million for him, that is gold for a transfer window. So unfortunately, Roger, I have to sell you. Spinazzola, keep him. Keep him because he still needs to get back fit from that Achilles tendon injury which he grabbed in the Euros. And he will never be the same after that injury. However, I'm going to keep him, but this season he's not been great. He's played one good game, as much as I can remember, and it was the home game against Salzburg. I want more from Spinazzola, and I know we need to give him time because of the injury he had, very delicate injury, but he needs to be better. I'm gonna keep him, but if somebody is willing to offer 40 to 50 million for Spinazzola, I am going to change my mind and go sell him because he's been poor this season. He can be better, and I know that his injury kind of was a devastation to him. I expect more from him, but I want to keep him because Leo Spinazzola can be a human train when he wants to. Moving on to Karsdorp, absolutely sell him. He is the player that Thiago Pinto has to sell first. Bro lost the sense of life. Last time I was at the stadium, he was warming up in front of me. He was training like this. Arms crossed over. That's not the attitude you want. He got clashed out by Mourinho in December after the Sassuolo game, and he was never back reintegrated in the team. Something broke between Karsdorp and Roma, and this thing will never be rebuilt. Sell Karsdorp before his attitude will weigh over him and his value will drastically drop because he does not care about this team anymore. And we need players who care about the badge. So sell Rick Karsdorp. Moving on to Smalling, absolutely keep. The defense has to be built around Chris Smalling. In fact, let me rephrase this. The next 2 years of our defense need to be built around Chris Smalling. Solidity, underrated player, confidence. He just knows where he is every time. The best defender in the league this season. Call me biased, because I'm not. He is absolutely sensational. And if we can keep him, because he's about to renew his contract, obviously keep him, build the defense around him. Our defense is already solid. Put a player like Ndika next to him, our defense can be world class next season. Keep Chris Smalling. Moving on to our midfielders, starting with a young talent, Volpato. I'm loaning him out. I think he started off well, got that winner against Verona, which handed us the 3 points. But then I think Mourinho lost confidence in him. And I think he has to improve with his attitude. Because for a young player to get subbed in a game and only think about skills and making yourself look cool is not good enough. Loan him because he needs to grab that experience, which at Roma he will never have. Loan him, but don't sell him, because if we sell him, then we'll regret it. Tahirovic, very similar discussion, loan him out. I think Mourinho likes him. Matic also likes him. There were rumors that Matic and Tahirovic had a very close bond, both of them being Serbian and having Serbian origins. I think Tahirovic has to be loaned out. He's been solid the few games he's played, but again, he just needs that step up in experience, and the only way he will get this experience is if he gets loaned out in relegation teams or even mid-table teams such as Torino, teams like Genoa who got promoted. These teams are the teams where Tahirovic can have a massive jump in his career, implant that experience and confidence in him, and then bring him back because he can be very useful when it comes to our future. Moving on to Darboe, I am going to keep him. Now I'm not going to loan him as I did with the other young talents because I know that he's coming from a delicate injury. But the few times I've seen Darboe before his injury were really good. Reminded me of N'Golo Kante. He has an incredible story. Go read about it because it's emotional and it's heartbreaking, but also at the same time, it makes you reflect on the positive and emotional side of this game. Darboe is an incredible player with an incredible heart. And I think when it comes to modesty, if you ever have a player in your team which is modest, which is humble, you always need to keep him because you always need these players. And Darboe has got a golden heart. The few times I've seen him under Fonseca, he was an absolute gem. I'm going to keep him because I want to see more of him now that he's rehabilitized after his ACL tear. Moving on to Kamara, sell him, we don't need him. He's been poor this season. Get him back to Olympiacos. And then Bove, oh my god, Bove, sensational player. Keep keep. Bove can become the new De Rossi, if you ask me. But let's not compare him right now, because otherwise his attitude goes rocketing and then we end up like Zaniolo. He needs to keep those feet on the floor and his head down. Incredible player, absolutely everywhere. He's an absolute animal. We have to keep him. He's the future of this club. In fact, out of all of these players, I'd say he's the one who will take the most responsibility and the most part of Roma's future. So keep him. Incredible relationship with the manager as well. Moving on to Wijnaldum, sell him. He's never been back the same after his tibia injury, which Felix Afena-Gyan gave him at the start of the season. He's had a few goals, but I feel like Wijnaldum, similar to Karsdorp here, doesn't really care. And you look at that Europa League final performance, and he doesn't really care. That's why he got booed in the last game of the season against Lo Spezia. You expect a player like Wijnaldum, with the experience he has and having played in big stages, to bring that experience and that professionalism to a team like Roma. But Bove, who is 10 years younger, has been more professional than him. So, in fact, look, I have to be honest, I remain pretty disappointed with Wijnaldum. I thought he was going to have a better experience at Roma. And part of this is due because of his injury, but also because of his attitude. I think he's too expensive either way. And I think we need better players. So, sell Wijnaldum and get him back to PSG. Matic next. My father, my grandfather, my uncle, my God at the same time. Matic this season, after Dybala, by far the best player in this Roma kit. Nobody expected this. Nobody expected this. Nobody. Not even Man United fans expected this. Sensational player. He's immense. He's sumptuous. Keep Matic. Because in tournaments like Europa League, and we've seen it this season, he can be that tool which changes lives. Cristante next, absolutely keep. Such an underrated player, one of the best players this season. Little words, a lot of actions, a lot of facts. That's what Cristante is. He doesn't speak much. He's a very humble person. Very underrated player, because this season he's been incredible when it comes to accuracy of passes, when it comes to versatility and adaptation in many different positions. I have really enjoyed working with Cristante this season, and I think next season he can only improve. So keep him, and just like Mancini, you can tell that he loves this team and he would die for this team. So definitely keep him. Moving on to Zalewski, keep him. Just like Bobby, he's the future of this team. Yes, last season he had a better impact than this season, but look, he's very young. He was inserted in the Golden Boy Awards last season after that Conference League, incredible Conference League performances. Keep him, he's incredible. Maybe not incredible, but he can grow a lot, and obviously we need him. And moving on to our captain, El Capitan Pellegrini, 100 times keep him. I know that Pellegrini has received a lot of hate this season. But towards the end of the season, he's changed his mentality. He's realized that he has to be better, and he has been better. He's been more valid on the pitch and more available on the pitch. The only thing Pellegrini needs to improve on, in my opinion, is communication and leadership. If he becomes and kind of get the communication and leadership that a player like De Rossi had, incredible player. But look, he's a good player which has had a tough season. If you go back and watch Lockdown Pellegrini, he was one of the best, if not one of the best midfielders in the entire league. So definitely keep him, and he's the captain. Again, he is the son of this city, and he loves this team, so keep him. Moving on to our attackers, starting with our Norwegian delight, Ola Solbakken. This is controversial, but I'm going to loan him out, because I think the ownership is going to buy better forwards up front. And for the few minutes I've seen Solbakken this season, the few games, he is still playing in the Norwegian League. Now, going from the Norwegian League to the Serie A is a very different jump. And you can tell that his technique is still Norwegian League level. I think he needs an experience outwards, outside of Roma, maybe in the Serie A, to other Serie A teams. I see him doing really well in a team like Fiorentina. He just needs that experience because right now, I hate to say it, but he looks clueless. So Alonso backing out. Belotti, I'm filming this 1 hour after Belotti's confirmation that Roma has triggered his renewal of contract and he will stay for 2 more seasons. But I'm going to keep this video to keep loan sell in Simo's opinion. I think we should have sold Belotti because for a striker which scored 0 goals in the league, obviously he fights for the team and you love to see that, but he's a striker, he needs the goals. So I would have sold him, but apparently we're keeping him. Moving on to El Shaarawy, keep him, sacrifices for this team. Every time he plays he grabs a contribution, a goal, an assist. He's never whispered one word to destabilize the environment. Professionalism at its max, one of the best technical players in this team after Dybala. So yeah, keep him because we need him. Then Tammy, again, I would have sold Tammy, similar discussion to Belotti. Because you see, Tammy, I mixed up all 3 things. I wanted to sell him because we could have gotten a lot of money to reinvest in the summer window. I wanted to give him another chance because I love him as a person and I feel like every player has off seasons, and next season with a bit more support behind him he could kind of return to his first Roma levels. But now that he's broken his ACL, we have to keep him because nobody wants him. Nobody will pay 30, 35, 40 million to sign Tammy. He will be back in March 2024, very delicate and serious injury. We need striker options, but look, maybe it's a sign. Maybe somebody up there didn't want Tammy to leave. Rehabilitation, and when he's back, goals galore, who knows, but keep Tammy now that he's broken his ACL. And last player, the one and only, the guy who has saved us this season, Paulo Dybala. Keep him, and if he has yet another successful season, just like the first one, I'll say one thing, start considering giving him the number 10 jersey. I know it's such a big image in this city because no one will ever be like Totti. No one will ever have the loyalty Totti had, and the talent Totti had, and the way he's the king of the city. But Dybala's unreal, and he's saved us many times this season. If it wasn't for Dybala this season, we would be a middle team. So, keep him. He's injury prone, but even when he's injured, he puts the difference in the team. So keep Dybala. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, this was my keep, loan or sell Roma edition. Kind of looking towards the transfer window. Cannot wait to see what we buy. We're already linked to a few players. We've already bought some players. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't already, just like I said at the start, get 200 likes because we are starting the entertaining video period. Rankings, predictions, reacting videos. So get those likes done. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're less than 2,000 subscribers away from 10,000 subscribers. Get it done before the season starts. And I love you all. Simon, out.